Hello everyone, Pierce Nation here. Welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to discuss format a little bit and kind of go into detail on that. So what's most importantly is I haven't been uploading, because I'm studying format, obviously. Like, it's something I do. This is my sort of off but on season where I study format pretty frequently. This is normally the type of year where I'm here and there. I miss a lot. I've been traveling to different locals and figuring things out for myself, how good this format really is. And as good as this format is, it's not. I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil it for you. This format sucks dick. Unless if you're playing fire deck, you're playing with something with shifter in it. And if you're not, then you're playing to lose, and that's the best way I can say it for you. Specifically because if you let your opponent resolve Snake Eye Ash, you have no interruptions at all. You might as well just scoop up your cards and just leave, because they're just gonna walk all over you, because one card combo that leads into an infinite amount of interruptions that if you don't have a board breaker, or I'm not talking like tactics. I don't count tactics as a board breaker. I don't know why people do. It can change the game state if the game state is like almost tied or even. It doesn't break game state if your opponent has 4 monsters on field, 2 back row, and you tactics try to rip a hand that has 3 cards. I don't count that as a board breaker. I will say it is a game changer card. Yes. And it's very important that we really notify ourselves with the difference between board breakers and game changers. And tactics for me has always been a game changer. It's a game changer. It's one card that can turn the game. But when you're playing something like Simple Fire Kings or Snake Eye Fire Kings, what the fuck you want to call them, that one tactics is not enough, if that makes sense. So a board breaker for them, it's not really a board breaker, but it is a game-changing card, is Soul Release. And if you do not play Soul Release, you do not side Soul Release, you need to start siding it in your side deck. I'm not saying you need to main it. I don't main it in any deck I play. I side it, so when I see them, I just side them in, whatever, and I go to town. So, like I said, tactics is an okay card to play against them, but it doesn't do a whole lot. Soul Release does more damage to them. If you see the card, it's super good. Also, what people are going to start realizing and playing is the ciphering package. That package is really, really good. I've been playing it a lot of Kashtira, obviously, because it's my best deck. And, we've been traveling to events, doing things. I've been loaning Kashtira, so eventually I will, rebuild Kashtira on my own and be able to showcase you guys a deck profile, hopefully before an event. I'm not as mainstream as most YouTubers, but I do get a lot of attention. Since I've got 85,000 channel views. I haven't checked it here lately, but it's probably higher than that. So obviously I'll get some attention, I'll get some ears, but I won't get the majority, which is what I'm shooting for. By getting a deck list out like that, normally it's players that like go to regional or go to locals. They're trying my deck profiles, which is fine. And if you don't agree with my choices on any of my deck profiles, that's fine. Like, you're not me, you're not winning games. And if you are, you're in a different time zone and a different meta than I'm in. Because down here, I tell you this, almost everybody I play plays Snake Eye. And I've went from here to Alabama to Atlanta to Philly to Nashville to Charleston. I've been everywhere, and that's all they're on, like relentlessly. So I think that there becomes a time to where we have to kind of equip ourselves to know what cards are good in the meta and what cards are bad in the meta. So let me go ahead and explain the hand traps. Okay, so for those of you who think Ash Blossom is a great card, it is not. Okay, unless if you're playing Branded or even Labyrinth, those two cards really good to have it. Okay, so I'm not saying side out Ash Blossom. Also, Ash Blossom is pretty good against the Voiceless Voice, so pretty good against that. So like have those, have them there for those. But me, I main deck Ash, but every time I face Fire Kings, I side Ash out. Why? I could use it against original and hit the originals Sinful Spoils. Right. Here's the kicker. If you ask them, they have 2 resources. They make Hida to Promethean to the Raging Phoenix, and they'll OTK you. Like nothing. Like, I would not do that. If I face them and it happens game 1, I can't prevent that. Game 2, that card's not in my deck. Like, I side that bitch out. So Ash is really bad. It's not great unless you're facing a select few number of decks. And that's a fact. Ghost Mourner. I think Ghost Mourner, this format, again, we've been testing a lot this format, so I'm going off of really good stats. It is a really good card this format. It is a card that if they summon the Diabella Star in the standby phase, you do not have to waste an imperm. You can just Mourner it and go about your day. And Mourner does something that Valor can't. Valor can hit any monster in main phase, but Mourner can trigger in the standby phase as well. So kind of interesting how those cards fluctuate. And if you're playing a deck like Ashtira or Flu, Mourner's a pretty good card. So because all you have to do is discard for cost. You don't send the graveyard. Ghost Spell's format. I think Ghost Spell is a really bad card this format, unless if you're playing again Branded Voiceless Voice, because you can hit the ritual summon or the add off the continuous spell. You know, again, really good card. So I would definitely, you know, side deck Bell. I currently main Bell. I main 2 Bells, but those are probably going to be Mourners, honestly, because Mourner's just a superior card. And when it comes to superiority, I see that card being the superior card. And not Ghost Spell. Ghost Spell, this format is pretty bad because it doesn't really do anything to the Snake Eyes strategy at all. So, besides Wanted, and I don't care about that card. So next of all, with hand traps, where do I think D-Shifter is? So, of course, D-Shifter is known for carrying games. I've seen this happen like once or twice. Okay, where it's actually carried me through a game. I've had games where it's helped me get there, but it hasn't carried me. Which, there was a game I bricked, I shifted. I had an event like literally 2 weeks ago, and the dude picked up his cards and left. I had nothing. I had, my hand consisted of Shifter, Ash, double Imperm, and I think Birth. I'm pretty sure. But I didn't have anything playable, and he just, as soon as he got shifted, he just scooped, and I was like, okay, sure. Like, that's the first time it's ever carried me. Was that day. I'd never seen it. And then I went home that night, played YGO, Omega, and then, you know, it happened there too. And I was like, sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it don't. But what's more concerning to me is what players think are good cards, what players think are good tech choices right now, which are not. Like Mistaken Arrest. Mistaken Arrest is a really, really bad card because it restricts you as well. When it comes to playing cards that we can both benefit from, or you benefit from and your opponent don't, like Droll and Lockbird, you don't want to play cards like that so that your plays get through. It's like the Ciphering package, I normally always see Gamma or Delta. Always. Now we know Gamma's at 1, but if Gamma wasn't at 1, I'd probably play 3 of it. I'd probably play 3 Gamma, 3 Delta, and 2 drivers. Now you say, well, you could brick on those drivers, but like, if you don't see the drivers, you're fine. If you see them, you can kind of just, you know, get rid of them. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But again, you know, we're talking about what ifs, which don't matter to shit in the competitive world. What ifs is like saying I almost topped. Like, it means nothing. What is, and the most important thing to know, is that the Rescue Ace version of Snake Eyes is not as good as the pure Snake Eyes, and it's not good as Snake Eyes Fire King. Now, the 2 best decks in the room, which I'll go ahead and boot up Omega real fast, because they have the data on there, which this does every Omega tournament that takes place. Let me make sure this is uploading. Yeah, it should be all right. We should be able to get on there pretty soon. But actually, I could probably look it up from my computer here. Let me get my keyboard fast. I'll show you. Well, I won't show you, but I'll tell you. Cause I ain't got time to tell you all. Go to Google real fast. Ooh. I gotta be able to see what the fuck I'm doing. Duelist Unite. So basically, it'll have all the information on here. So if I hit statistics right here, it's gonna pop up. And let me go ahead and minimize, and I'll show you what the fuck I'm talking about. So in case you think I'm lying, I'm full of shit. Which apparently we've got this up, and this is not what I want. Let me see if I can change the properties on this. There we go. Okay, so here we are. So this is the categories that I use, and this is where I get my factual information from. About what cards are good, what cards are bad, blah blah blah, whatever. Okay, so obviously, if you've ever played YGO Omega and know anything about it, there are professional players that are on this game. There are 6,600 logins a day. It doesn't count the same person twice if they log in again. Okay. You want to see that? I'll show you that too. So you click here, unique logins, and this actually factually tells you exactly what I just said. So let me minimize me so you can see it for yourself. This is the amount of players that log in each day daily. So as you can see, the lowest we have hit lately is 5,900. Okay. So, and the highest we've hit is almost 6,700. So this is a pool of about 6,700 players. Okay, so this is gonna be your like 3 times the amount of players that enter a YCS. So put that in perspective, this is a pretty good little game simulator to go off of. it's got some pretty good information for you. Okay, so in this information poll, we're going to go up here, we're going to click off that, and we're going to hit top 16 decks by win rate. And magically, I cannot lie to you, it shows factual information that Kashtira is still the best deck. And this has been out for since the launch of the last set, whatever it was, Phantom Nightmare, whatever. I don't really care. But it shows you the win percentage of these decks. And I knew that the Fire Kings and the D-Bell Star Snake Eye were going to be, neck and neck. But they literally are neck and neck to be the best deck. And here lately, in the past week, it's really locked in, and the Snake Eye is kind of fluctuating up, and Kashtira is like going up a little bit, so they're both relevantly the same. I will say Kashtira was at a 62%, so they've dropped a little bit. But D-Bell Star seems to be stuck at 60, which this is the pure Snake Eye, by the way. This is not Fire King. There's your Fire King. This is your pure Snake Eyes. So, as you can see, the pure Snake Eyes is a cut above the Fire King one. Now, why is that? Well, the problem that you have with the Fire King one is if you normal Snake Eye Ash and they impermanent, you now can't use a second effect. So you have to have a extender like D-Bell Star, or you have to hard draw original to try to extend. But if your D-Bell Star gets impermed and your opponent didn't ash you, and you're just striving for a way to get going, this keeps you from playing, and it really locks you down the way you can't do anything. So you can go link 2, you probably make SP, pass, whatever, but whatever the case may be, it's not good. So but as you can see, Kashtira is still the best deck. It's not by much, I will say that. Win percentage wise, I will say, in the times that I have played Kashtira, it has been a 80-20 matchup. So I won 80% of my games, and I dropped 20% of them. The reason that I dropped 20% is I didn't see side cards. Sometimes, okay, because we've been, in a learning process, we cited incorrectly, which I used to think Bell was a really good card against them. Now I'm against it. I think Bell is a terrible card against them, and I don't think you ever do that. And again, we're talking about shifter decks, okay? So on this list, if we look at the top and we go down here, you're going to see Centurion is not far behind. That is, and the only reason that is because of Calamity. You take Calamity out of this deck falters. This deck is like way down there. It's worse than pure Fire King. And like I said, these percentages, they go on every single game. So if D-Bell Star goes downhill and Kashtira goes uphill, then they'll hit a fine line. But typically these decks enter at a range to where, there have been more games played with Cash than there has D-Bell Snake Eye. I can actually bring you the statistics here. I think I can. Most used deck. The most used deck, as you can see, is Kashtira by a long shot, and it is 29,000 games to Fire King, which is 25,000 games. So Kashtira has 4,000 games on Fire King, which Do they not have... Okay, so apparently they don't go by the Snake Eyes deck. What? Oh. That, well, they have them categorized. They should have pure Snake Eye on here somewhere. They don't. At least not that I'm seeing. Well, you figured they would. Oh, there it is. D-Ball Star. So the D-Ball Star Snake Eyes should be right there. It's at 6,500. Okay, so that just makes this even worse. That it's that high. Simply because it's a 60%, and as you can see, nobody's playing it. It's like 6,500. But everybody is on what is, and again, like, this makes this bad. I didn't even know this. 1,100 games with a 60% win rate. So what this means is we're comparing a deck that has a 60% win rate and a 59% win rate to a deck that almost a year and a half has got a 60% win rate, which is the highest we have had so far. Okay. And this stuff is at 59.2 and 60.6 with less than 1,100 or 11,000 games. And this right here is at 29,000. So when you put the 2 and 2 together here, something's not fucking adding up. Because if I go to Centurion here, which, you know, it'll pop right up. It's like one of the highest played decks. Okay, so we got 11,000. I mean, it's not much fucking better. It's right in the same category. But at least I know it gets how it's getting its wins. I understand. I also understand how Snake Eye does it too. I just don't understand why the win percentages are so frayed. Like, if you play the Snake Eyes Fire King, whatever, let me know in the comments down below. Like, are you having a tough time playing? Because I would think that you guys would win like almost every single one of your matchups, because your deck's just, you know, a cut above the rest, like us. You know, I've always been a cast tier player, and I'm always going to be a cast tier player, simply because I think the deck is just so much more superior than every meta deck that's been out. I think decks like Horus have a really good matchup against it, at least against me. And, you know, for me, Vanquish Soul. And like I said, you see Vanquish Soul here, and they play 84,000 games or 8,400 games. Cashier is the highest rated because it's literally been the best deck for God knows how long, since Hyper Photon Nova. And Fire King, it was up here, and I mean, it did pretty good. So for 25,000 games, I mean, we're talking about Fire King here. Like, pure Fire King, that's the best it could do. I don't think the win percentages are this high. And even with the games played and the frayed stats, it's still not high enough. So what this tells me is your Snake Eye Fire King is not the best deck in the room. Not even close. I thought it was closer than that. You look at this win percentage, and you would think that, you know, it would be a lot closer, but, you know, you can look up everything on here, and you can see everything. Like, you can see our player rankings, where they rank, and We are in Diamond, so we're in the we're part of the 248 3.62. That's where me and my team are at. So if you want to, play us, have a chance to play us, I grind YG Omega. You'll run into us eventually, because we're on here like on the daily. And I'm just on here today. I haven't played any games today, and I'm not going to play any games today because I'm about to go to bed. But this will make you a better player 100%, because it will teach you how to sequence cards, it also teach you how to play correctly, because if you play wrong, you'll continuously be punished for playing wrong. And you can just get on here and watch me play some YG Omega, and I'll kind of show you how everything goes. So the most used card in the game is obviously Ash Blossom, and you can see the stat line for it. In this format, I think it's really bad. I think Droll is better, unless you're playing like Fire Kings or some odd. Imperm, again, is a really sought after card. Nibiru is not as popular, but it is still pretty popular. It's almost like Imperm. SP Little Knight, everyone's playing it. Like, you might as well just get over yourself. And so let's go ahead and talk about the card that everybody's like, oh, that card's gonna get banned. Where is he? I know he's down here somewhere. There he is. There's Castor Fender. Out of this whole thing, there he is. He's toward the bottom. He's almost less played than Garua. He's almost less played than Pot of Prosperity. Hard to tell you, but they don't look ban worthy to me. Looks like you need to start up here and go down first. If I had to assume, I would say this card is on the chopping block. I'm just gonna say they might leave it because it's good targeted removal and it's really easy to out. But again, Rise Heart was really easy to out too, and they banned him. So you always have a chance of that happening. So again, anytime you want to look for something, you can go here. You can find live tournaments, statistics, TCG leaderboard, which I'm not in the top 50 currently, but I'm trying to fight and get up there. I'm like about 300 under this, so like I'm not far. But as you can see, we got a lot of really good competitors and a lot of professional players that are actually up here, and there's people like these guys that continuously grind YG Omega every single chance they get. And that's not a bad thing either. Like, it's really good because if you're able to beat one of these players, I would count myself as one of the best. But which I do count myself as one of the best on here. I just got to grind the next season a lot harder than I did this one, and obviously be present more because I have not been as present as I could be. But let's go back to the statistics. This is how you get to everything, by the way. Again, we went by player ranking, most used deck, which was cash, and as you can see, the top cards. Okay, so this right here will teach you a lot about cards that probably should be banned. So when I do my ban list prediction videos, which I don't do them very often, this is what I base it off of. Okay, so in case you're ever wondering, like, what card is very impactful? So what this tells you is the amount of games Ash Blossom has won versus lost, and it's almost 50-50. So Ash Blossom is not the most impactful card, and if you go down here, lo and behold, guess who is not on the list? Yeah, you guessed it. It's Castor Fenrir. Do you know why? Because that card's not that impactful. And I had Castor players like riled up because of you know, me making the deck, you know, a meta contention and actually bringing up that it was the best deck. And people were afraid, like, no, we're gonna get hit, and it's like, there's nothing you can hit in cash right now. You hit all the cards. You gave us Unicorn back. So, for me, on our perspective, I don't see them doing anything else. So that's like the most important thing. Now, if they hit Cashier, it'll be what it is. I don't see it happen. I say give us a Rise Heart back and let's see what happens. That's where I'm at with this, like 100%. They gave me back a Rise Heart right now, it'd be in my deck immediately. And that win rate would go from 60 to probably 75. Simply because of that one card. And it's like magic that how powerful Rise Heart is. That's literally all it would do. And we'd probably go back to playing cross out. That way we could cross out Nib and, you know, build a board that's nearly unbreakable. You basically have to pick and choose if you're going to imperm the Shang or you're going to imperm the Rise Heart, which either one you imperm is right and wrong at the same time. So hopefully that's the case. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. So again, this is showing you all your best decks. And again, if you want to face me at any point in time, you know, just skin on Omega, or, you know, put your credentials in the comments down below. Get back to me again. That's what I would do. But without further ado, I'm Pierce Nation, and we'll see you in the next video. Pierce Nation, out.